Hey kids, welcome back to I'm Not Broken, the podcast where we talk about what it actually means to live, regulate, and grow in a world that wasn't built for us. I'm Jeffrey Towery, and today we're talking about growth. Not hustle growth, not performance growth, but the kind that happens quietly once stability finally takes hold. Growth isn't something you force, it's something that emerges when your nervous system feels safe enough to explore again. This episode is about growth through neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and reshape itself through experience, and what growth really looks like for autistic people when we're no longer stuck in survival mode. But now, for the broken news. Recent neuroscience research continues to reinforce that chronic stress suppresses learning and adaptation, while regulated nervous systems support neuroplastic change. Studies on stress hormones like cortisol show that prolonged activation interferes with memory formation and cognitive flexibility. In plain language, you can't grow while your body thinks it's under threat. Several education and mental health policy reviews over the past year have criticized systems that emphasize performance metrics over well-being, noting that students, especially neurodivergent students, show better long-term outcomes when environments prioritize regulation, predictability, and psychological safety. Growth improves when pressure is reduced, not increased. And finally, autism researchers are increasingly acknowledging that developmental progress in autistic people often appears as depth rather than speed. Stronger internal models, refined skills, and stable integration rather than rapid outward change. This challenges the idea that growth must always look dramatic or visible to be real. And now for the word of the day. The word of the day is growth. Growth is the natural expansion of capacity that happens when the nervous system feels safe enough to explore. Biologically, this is supported by neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reform and form new connections and reorganize itself through experience. Growth isn't forced change, it's adaptive change. There wasn't a big moment, no breakthrough, no ceremony. Just one morning I woke up and it was all there. I realized I was producing my own podcast. I'd already written 3 books. The 4th was underway. The 5th was planned. And I was excited to speak again. All of it had been quietly building inside me. I just hadn't stopped long enough to notice. That's how growth works. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums. And one day you realize the song's been playing the whole time. When you've spent years in survival mode, growth can feel foreign, even suspicious. But once stability takes root, growth happens naturally. It's not a goal to chase, it's a rhythm you rejoin. For many autistic people, growth looks quiet, refining patterns, expanding trust, widening comfort zones. Sometimes growth doesn't look like more, sometimes it looks like deeper. One of the most sustainable ways to nurture growth is through what I call adaptive curiosity. That means exploring small novelties, a new texture, a new idea, a gentle challenge without overwhelming your system. You don't force growth, you invite it, one small experiment at a time. Growth isn't what happens when we push, it's what unfolds when we allow. When the body and mind feel safe, they begin to rebuild and reimagine. That's growth in motion, supported by neuroplasticity, guided by safety. Try this. Pick one small daily action that represents growth, a walk, a creative thought, a moment of openness, and notice how it feels in your body. Growth lives in sensation before it becomes visible. When we began this journey learning how to survive through recovery, integration, and stability, now in growth, we learn how to thrive. The system isn't rebuilding anymore, it's reaching out. And when growth becomes rhythm, you stop chasing progress, you start living it. All right, guys, I have ASD, ADHD, OCD, and PTSD, everything but a PhD. But I'm not broken because different isn't broken. You guys have a great night. And this is season 2, so enjoy it. We're going to grow together. Good night, guys.